My name is Tika Morgan. My work is called Tika Morgan Dance, and I have been studying the African Diaspora movement and also technical movement and folkloric movement since I was about 8 years old or 9 years old. And I am coming to you today as an experiment. This is obviously not AI and I don't have any fancy lighting. I'm just recording this on my computer. We are coming to a time when we have so much to learn from the history, from the resilience, and from the people who have created what I think is some of the most important art that this world has ever seen, heard, or experienced. African diasporic movement and music and expression is in absolutely every aspect of culture. What I notice is that people are not necessarily guided to understand how deep and sophisticated it is. And as non-African descended people, it's really easy to engage with the parts of it that move us, that make us feel a certain way, or to want to use it for our own gain without really kind of going into the story behind and the people attached to the dances that we do. I always say that when we fall in love, we pay attention. And I know that for myself, that is what has led me to the studies that I've done and continue to do throughout my life. I think that when you step into a dance space, especially as an adult who is non-African descended, it's very easy to not understand what you don't understand. It's hard to know what you don't know, right? So there's this idea of you enter the house, you take off your shoes, and you listen, and you pay attention. This is the cultivation of the mind, because you're not coming at it to get rid of something you did before, to burn calories, to try to memorize a move so you can then retell it in some other way. You're coming at it through a sense of openness and a desire to experience yourself. Movements that come to us through African Brazilian rhythmic traditions, through Haiti, through Cuba, through Puerto Rico, through Harlem. It's just very sophisticated. And so I think that it's important for us to cultivate humility when we interact with it. So when you come into a dance space, I would love for people to know that there's a way to interact with it that is open and reverent rather than unconscious. I do think one of the biggest misconceptions that we also may not be aware of that we have is that when you hear drum or when there's an aspect of some kind of sensuality, that it isn't as technically sophisticated as, let's say, ballet, which comes out of Louis XIV court for the most part, right? That's where it was really consecrated into form by way of Italy. The thing is, if you get into studying, for example, Cuban folkloric dance, you're dealing with extremely sophisticated movement that requires a certain amount of weight transference. What in Cuba they call muelleo, or in Brazil, balanço. You are not deciding one side or the other unless for a specific reason. So your movements are really about the spine. And that doesn't mean your head is flopping all over the place. It's really this motion that is internal, and that is something very intense and renewing. It's really transformative. And so it requires cultivation. It requires attention. So the point of this is just to say that when you step into a space that offers you any kind of diasporic movement from the African diaspora, go like a child. Go with your eyes open, with your ears open, with your heart open. I think one of the things that we need to always do is enter with humility, right? So I've been engaging with this my whole life, and I still study. I can never stop studying. Never, never, never. I don't study to take. I study to immerse, and what lands inside my consciousness will come forward in my teaching. I began teaching in 2001, and I went full-time in 2010. And it is not an easy thing to hold space for people, and to hold space for the way that energy moves when you're dealing with the dances of the African diaspora. But the music works on you, and there is a meditational aspect to it. But the first thing we need to do is get ourselves in alignment with the humility. Sometimes people come and they just want to freestyle. That's great. There's plenty of opportunities to do that. But when you enter into a space, like when you enter a class, say with one of my teachers like Susana Arenas, what you want to do is open yourself to learn, because it's human story. I hope this has given you food for thought, and I'm going to be posting a lot of stuff like this on this channel. So if you feel interested or you enjoy the way I'm speaking, I want it to be natural. It's not special lighting. It's going to be probably from different locations. Hopefully this music from Bahia is not interfering. But please subscribe and help me learn how to express this in a way that inspires. Thank you.